You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Hannibal After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Hannibal After Show.
What
Can't make me
feel this way?
Joe does.
My girl.
Joe does.
There it is.
We should
Bing is
start
for
a
doing.
band.
We should not start a band. Bing is for doing, and we're doing, believe it or not the Temptations, but the Hannibal AFTERBUZZ show.
Hannibal AFTERBUZZ, episode 6.
Episode 6, Entree.
It's entree time. We're getting to the good stuff. None of this little bites here and there.
That's right. We're getting to
Good
the meat.
stuff.
Finally, something I can pronounce. First of all, gone through 6 episodes.
Finally, yes.
With all these like quoths and oaths and
Which
moose
I
and
still
everything
don't know how to
else.
say that one. Amuse-bouche.
So I'm Joe Braswell. I'm joined here as always by the lovely Julia Cearley.
Hello.
And Joe Sanfilippo is not here today for this episode, but he will be here for the next episode, as will Nando Velasquez. Really is, believe it or not, a part of this show. He really is.
I never met the guy.
No, he's a great guy. You're gonna love him.
Yeah. It's like Harvey.
He will be here eventually. We're also joined by the lovely Marissa Serafini.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
So we're playing My Girl because my girl.
Your girl.
I'm claiming her. Anna Chomsky's in this episode.
She's everyone's girl,
Yeah,
man.
like from My Girl. She's she's definitely, she makes has a fairly large role in this
Quite
episode.
the cameo.
Quite
Yes.
the cameo. Away from Veep, which I love her in Veep
my
as
God,
well.
I'm obsessed with her and Veep. I love that show.
It's always good to see.
Can't get enough.
So we're here just to recap again, just to make sure if you are just tuning into this podcast and you're realizing that we're on episode 6 and we know that everyone else is highly anticipating episode 8 or 9.
I think it's 8 on Thursday.
Is it 8 on Thursday?
We're catching up.
No, it's 9 on Thursday.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, 'cause 8 just aired. 8 is fromage, I think, or whatever it is. So anyway,
Man,
we're
I
doing
thought we
episode
were
6
so
because
close.
we started from the very beginning. We started from episode 1 to recap the entire season, sort of catch up for all those who are, downloading or buying them on iTunes or, time shifting or DVRing or just getting to the show. We want to recap the whole thing from the very beginning. So we have done 1 through 6. We are now on episode 6, which is Entree, which we'll recap right this very second.
Yep.
Starting now.
Now.
Go.
Oh.
So this was, the show, man. I'm so bummed because I feel like that I'm coming late to the party. This is a weird situation where we're late to the party here on this show, yet, we don't know the fate of the show. But I'm like, I'm still catching up, and I'm like, this show can't possibly end. It's so freaking good.
So good.
So good.
So good. I'm so into it.
I don't know that we've ever seen. I said this earlier. I think I said this in episode 2 or so, but I don't know that we've seen anything like this in the way of storytelling on television, where there's so many different devices going on. There's so many different overlapping genres happening. I talked about this before. It's sort of you have horror, you have suspense. You have your sort of crime procedural. All happening at once, which is incredible. But then we have the main device of we're dealing with Hannibal Lecter, the most notorious fictional serial killer of all time, one of them at least, right? And we all know that Hannibal's Hannibal, but, it's a greatest device in the world that we all know this guy is Hannibal.
That's why they're able to get away with this, to have all these elements thrown in, because we as the audience, we know the end game. We
Right.
know where we end up, and it ain't pretty, but nobody else on screen does.
Right.
Nobody knows. He's a
And-
sleeper.
Exactly. And that end game is like, with end game, which we learned, starting 27 years ago or longer before that, if you go to the books. But, the end game has spawned its own sort of mythology of its own. And then so it's great that we can go back to pre-Red Dragon to tell a story that is going to lead us to Red Dragon. It's I don't know. It's
well, the characters, every character is so fascinating and so in depth that it's begging for us to go back as far as we can and really see how this monster came about.
Right. It's not so much about, it's not a super origin story of Hannibal in the way that, like in the movie Hannibal Rising sort of talked about how he became Hannibal, which was really interesting and not that good. But,
the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is great to see this whole thing sort of unfold, the days of Hannibal as a helping the FBI and as a doctor and being so close and working with them. And it's a crazy device that I feel like that this can go multiple seasons with us knowing that Hannibal is going to ultimately be this other guy. Well, we know who he is, right? Here's this guy right now, but be exposed as the most notorious serial killer in history.
It's so fun to see as these episodes progress. We're only on episode 6, but slowly but surely we get to know him just a little bit more, a little bit of what makes him tick, and they peel back a layer every single time, and they just expose just a bit more, a little bit more violence, a little bit more psychosis, a little bit more emotion to really get to know this guy.
Yeah, it's a great choice because we are now 6 episodes in, and this is the first episode where we actually saw Hannibal kill someone.
First time.
It's been hinted at. It's been the pilot. It was hinted at. We saw him decompressing the lungs.
Yes.
And almost sort of like we're like, oh, is he? And then we talked about how we saw in
episode 4
episode
the rabbit that hopped away.
Yes, we saw the rabbit hopping away. Someone chasing the proverbial rabbit.
Poor rabbit.
With the modified boudoir, whatever the hell it was. and then so this episode we actually see what happened. We actually get a peek into his what makes him what motivated him to kill, and what motivated him to sort of revisit, reclaim his stature as a Chesapeake Ripper, which we'll get into in a second. But
what I thought was interesting, just real fast, was that not only was this the first time we saw Hannibal get violent, this was the first time that Will got violent when he was empathizing with the mind of the killer. This is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the first time that he actually, we saw him perform the act.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's just jump into that. Let's jump into the Ripper itself. But before we do, I want to thank you all for listening to us and downloading us on iTunes. We continue, somehow, miraculously, continue to rise to the top of the charts. We're still number 1. We're the number 1 downloaded show on AfterBuzz right now, which is fantastic. Thank you. And we're like number 8 or something on iTunes, or 9 or
Crazy
8 or
town.
7 or something. So thank you.
Thanks,
please
guys.
continue to download us, and please tell a friend about the show Hannibal, and tell NBC that you clearly want this show, because we're
keep it going.
I mean, if not, you may not want us, but you definitely want the show.
Take us all. Take us both.
We're a package deal.
Yeah.
You get the show, you get us. So thank you for downloading us on iTunes, and also you can watch us and listen to us on YouTube as well, also at our site at AfterBuzzTV.com. So let's get into this, the Chesapeake Ripper and Eddie Izzard, the not so funny again. Eddie Izzard,
So funny.
not so funny,
Not so funny.
not so funny in this one. We had Molly Shannon 2 episodes ago in episode 4.
Oh, yes.
Yes, even though we recorded it.
Got
But,
it.
no,
Time
2
travel.
Yeah, but 2 episodes ago with Molly Shannon, who wasn't funny either.
Not so much.
Really scary. Eddie Izzard. I don't know if he was very scary though. Were you afraid of him?
No, I saw him methodical, but because I know he's not the Ripper,
Right.
he didn't really scare me that much.
Yeah.
Because I knew he was just crazy more than anything, and he was
Right.
like a wannabe. He's like wannabe scary guy.
But also a doctor too.
Also a doctor.
So getting back to what you said, we first, the show opens with the doctor himself being not Dr. Lecter, but Dr. what's his character's name?
Where'd it
Dr.
go?
Eddie Izzard being wheeled through. It's
my
okay.
God, where did I put his
being
name?
wheeled through the hospital, and then making his escape, picking the locks, and then doing his horrible work. We only get to see how that happened through the recreation of the flashback, if you will, of Will, which was
that scared me. If you want to know what scared me, that scared the pants off of me.
That was a brutal murder.
That was one of the most brutal I think I've seen on this show.
Yeah.
We've seen brutal aftermath with the wings and whatnot, and people impaled on antlers. What am I talking about? This is horrible.
It's the show you're
horrible
watching.
Things.
This is the show you're recapping there, sister. You're going to get used to it.
Yet I love it.
I have a feeling. I feel like it's not going to get any easier.
I don't think so. But this particular murder, and maybe it's because I have such an affinity for Will, that to see him make that transition and turn into that serial killer that he's so scared that he might become, or that he has the capacity to, that upset me. Yeah,
that's another cool device, another cool trick that the show does when you have Will go into his pendulum trance, which we didn't actually see the pendulum. The physical pendulum this episode.
We heard it, though.
We did hear it.
We heard it.
But when he goes into his pendulum trance, we get to actually see him as a serial killer. That is really jarring,
I said,
right?
it's getting more and more severe every episode.
Right.
His empathy and his able to put himself in the mind of the killer is getting more specific every single time, and it makes me really worried for Will.
Yeah, Will's in trouble.
Will is in some trouble, man.
He tried to say that last episode, like how he doesn't know how much longer he can do this, and
it's getting harder and harder to look.
Yeah. So anyway, we see Will go through this, and I think that this is actually interesting about the murders and what we see, because like you said, this just felt like one of the most brutal, to me, one of the most brutal murders we've seen, but yet. We've seen bloodier before in the past, and we've seen bloodier aftermaths, but it begs the question of, sometimes just seeing someone screaming and running, and because there was no blood.
Have we seen that yet?
No, but have we
seen a murder yet, or have we just seen the scenes?
Well, no, we've seen murder. No, we see a murder almost every time. In the pilot, he actually shot the lady. We see the blood spatter.
Okay, never mind. I take it back.
In every episode, we see it, but somehow. It's the slow motion, it's blood splattering. Here was actual brutality.
This was in real time.
Anyway, that was scary. So we saw that. We saw Will do those horrible things, and he actually seemed to have a rougher time coming out of the trance this time, too. He was really very disturbed. Really upset with what he did or saw.
Yes.
So, Eddie Izzard claims to be the Chesapeake Ripper. The timeline seems to match up.
Yeah, he's been in there just about 2 years, and that's the last time they saw a murder.
Well, 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago that he did his last thing, and then?
No, I think they said 2 years and 2 years.
2 years, okay. So, but no one's buying it, right? So Jack's not buying it. Will's not buying it. The lovely doctor,
Alana Bloom.
Bloom's not buying it.
You know who's buying it?
Who?
Dr. Chilton. He wants it
That
bad.
guy. He
wants
it
bad.
He's a clown. Well, he wants it. He wants it bad.
He wants it. He wants that notoriety.
Yeah. He's so proud the way he's shredded it. You didn't have the Ripper because I had him all
along. All along, guys.
Boom. Here I am.
Look over here.
Exactly.
Miss little old me.
But Will was kind of onto it. He'd had that line where he said, if someone wants him to be the Ripper. It's the first time that Will hinted at. Maybe there's a larger picture here. Someone's playing us, maybe, because he said, I forget the line was, he thinks he's the Ripper, or someone wants it. It's certainly what someone needs him to be. Either in other words, either in terms of someone needs him to be the Ripper for another reason than this. And he's kind of, again, this is the second time we see him get so close to. It's like he's dancing around in his subconscious. He knows something's off about almost every scene he's around. It's like he's there, but there's something else, and that something else is obviously Hannibal, but he can't quite, put his will powers on it yet. But he's floating around it, which is very interesting to me. So I don't know. It kind of hints that like there'll be more things to be revealed later where he'll actually.
Are you saying that Will? What are you saying? That Will knows he's close, but it's just not quite fitting?
That Will. There's been 2 or 3 times where Will has done his, where Will is doing his profiling, and in the process of his profiling, there's a piece or two or one small piece that doesn't quite make sense, and he'll say, what? This doesn't da 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 da. Or he'll say it, like he'll be like he said, like, this guy's not the Ripper. Someone else needs him to be the Ripper.
Yeah.
But he leaves it at that. He doesn't go, well, who is this other person and why, you know? And then that scene that I love, I'm not going to call it a famous scene yet, but the scene that I love where Will is actually teaching the class and profiling Dr. Lecter while Lecter's kind of over his shoulder smiling, you know?
Yes.
It's like, this guy he's methodical, he's smart. This guy will not da-da-da-da. And Lecter's like, that's me.
Peg
You know?
me.
But anyway, so it's crazy because I think Will is really, really close to, it's almost like a Sixth Sense feeling. I feel like he's really
Trust
close to
that.
it, you know, but he can't quite grasp
Well,
it.
it's because it's in his head. Lecter
Yeah.
is in his head.
Yeah.
He's so close.
Yeah, and so anyway, so we had the Ripper, and we saw that you know, Eddie Izzard. What I don't understand, what I need to ask you about Julia Cearley is, if I was a little unclear as to why Eddie Izzard claimed to be the Ripper. Is did this come through the influence of the Doctor?
Dr. Chilton.
Or did it come through the influence? Because it's really in Lecter's best interest to have him pretend to be the Ripper. So Lecter seemed to be, I don't know, no.
I think Lecter was showing some silent rage there when he was sitting
very
there
true,
reading
yeah.
on his
No.
tablet.
That's not, you're right. That's the whole reason
story.
why Lecter got pissed. But okay, well, so then what was Eddie Izzard's motivation for claiming the Chesapeake Ripper?
You know, I'm not sure. I know Dr. Chilton definitely, it seems he coerced him, planted the seed a little bit because Dr. Chilton so desperately wants that
Right.
for himself, not for anybody else,
Right.
obviously, but he has an inkling. He wants it to be proved, and so he's going to coerce Eddie Izzard. Why can't I remember his name?
Right.
It's gonna kill
Dr.
me.
Izzard Pants.
Yes, Dr. Izzard Pants. That's
Yes.
right. That's
He's
it.
The notorious killer, Dr. Izzard
Dr.
Pants.
Izzard Pants. God, brutal. A brute.
Well, and then there's the way he did that nurse, which is, you know, again, horrible, but it was such a copycat of the Ripper. It was like, why would he then? Is this a result of the therapy he was receiving?
It must have been because
Okay.
we all know it wasn't him.
Okay.
We all know that. So I think this is all Dr. Chilton.
Right.
This is all him planting these seeds in his head, giving him details of the murder. So when it does come to light that it's him, he has all the facts right. He's ready
Right.
to roll. And, you know, he's a psychopath. They want that notoriety. He doesn't
Right.
just want to rot away for the rest of his life in that horrible, horrible, horrible prison. He wants people to remember him, to know him, to be
Sure.
to be famous.
Well, again,
Infamous.
we are for 2 episodes back now, so I'm sure maybe there's something that's happening more with Eddie Izzard's Dr. Izzard.
Yeah, we might get some more
Pants.
answers.
So
Dr. Izzard Pants.
So we'll see. It's kind of the bad news about being so behind. I would say people on Twitter and iTunes help us out and let us know what you think, but they already know.
They already know.
They're ahead of us.
Oh.
Okay, so
We're almost there, Braz.
we're almost
so
we're getting
close.
there. So in this pursuit of the Chesapeake Ripper, we have some flashbacks happening here, some Jack flashbacks,
Sure
and this
do.
is really, you know, I was wondering if they were going to get into more of a Lawrence Fishburne storyline because this is obviously a Will. The story's Hannibal is a title character, and then you have the Will, you know, story, but then you have a great actor like Lawrence Fishburne sort of just being the angry black guy in the background. And now we're going to be able to unpack him a little bit.
Yeah,
and so
it was
we saw,
nice. It was nice actually to get a little bit of not just history, but a little bit
Sure.
of emotion from him. Not just this
Yeah.
hard ass, hard nosed. I did not hear that. You say it right.
Yeah.
Can you say it?
I did not hear that. I did not hear that.
There it is. Thank you.
But you can't. Yeah, but he was no less angry in this episode. he was still angry. He was still an angry
But
black
he
man.
was also emotional.
Yes.
We definitely were pulling at the heartstrings of
Sure.
Lawrence Fishburne in this one, and showing some vulnerability as
Yeah.
well. And maybe it's his driving force that he's not able to save the ones that he loves. That being Bella, his wife.
Yeah.
That being a little
Very
my
heartbreaking
girl.
scene. Heartbreaking scene when
Yeah.
him confessing to Lecter about how he's feeling about his wife, and Lecter sort of, you know, being the shoulder to cry on, which
Yeah,
is
it was so messed up.
it's so effed
Because
up.
he's the one.
Yeah, it's so effed up. I
It
mean,
really,
on so many
really
levels.
is.
And you know, it's really disturbing to see, like, you know, Jack's really confiding. The one guy, like he's decided, Joe Flippo talks about this. The one guy he's decided he's going to confide in the most is Hannibal Lecter, to the point he's breaking down and crying. I mean, who's ever seen Jack Crawford cry? Like no
Not a
one.
soul. It's never happened. So, first time.
Yeah, I mean, so he's breaking down. It's his wife, and only to Hannibal, right before he serves him up a modified something or other.
Yeah, he's playing on his vulnerabilities. He has that. I mean, he has that ability. He's such a genius. He pulls it out. He finds out your soft spot, your vulnerable spot, and then he exploits it in the most gruesome, disgusting, horrifying way possible.
Well, we get some flashbacks, and we meet Anna Chomsky. We meet Miriam. Yes, and who's a bright young.
Sounds familiar, does it not?
Yes, like
Jack Crawford likes his bright young things.
Yes, he does. But she's and he's doing his Jack Crawford thing and really, being super hard on her and saying you better grow some calluses and callusi. How to say? What's the plural for calluses? Callus.
Calluses. Oh.
Okay.
Somebody look it up.
Marissa, what's the plural for callus?
Thank you.
All right. I'm like, they're calluses. Callusi. Anyway.
I'm going to stick with that.
You better grow more than one callus in your hand.
It's definitely just calluses.
Okay.
Just calluses.
Maybe I just can't say it.
No, it's all right.
It's okay. She just said it. It sounded
she needs
perfect.
to grow some bargaining chips.
All right. Oh. Well, a little callback.
Thank you.
So anyway, we see him with Anna Chomsky, and ultimately the way this plays out is we find out that he does like her, and he likes her enough to sort of put her on the case. Now, the question I have for you was that him giving her a break and him like sort of testing her out or throwing her a bone, or was that really him using her as a way to get to avoid some red tape?
I think it's both, because we all know that Jack is more than willing to throw anything to the wolves in order to get what he wants.
Sure.
He's done it. He's doing it with Miriam. He's doing it with Will currently. We all know in the future he does it with Clarice.
Right.
That's his device. That's what he does. That's his little magic trick, is to pull a newbie out, and they don't really know one way or the other, but he's going to get his reward from it.
Right.
But he also selects people wisely. He doesn't pull any old Joe Schmo from the FBI.
Take it easy.
Oh, sorry.
Two Joes in the show.
Sorry, Joe and Joe. The
Okay.
two Joes.
Sorry.
He doesn't just pull, just anyone. He definitely selects them, does his research, and makes sure that they are the right, perfect fit. And, they go through her credentials. She's in the top 5% of her class. She has doctorates, MBAs, this, that,
letters,
you name it, she's got it. So she's the one.
And it's so funny, like, the people like that are the top 1% of the top 1% of the top 1%, and she's in there like, I'm the bestest and the brightest, and he's like, yeah, you're all right. I don't know. Come back tomorrow. It's like, what? Like, how many Miriams are gonna walk through that door? But anyway, so he sends her off on this and she does a great job of, ultimately, as we find out at the end, she does a great job of tracking the Ripper down, who is Hannibal, and does a great job of doing that interview, and then seeing that, seeing the piece of art, which is, now was that like, I didn't see, that wasn't like that was something, what was that?
That was the crime scene that she and Jack saw.
Right, that was his drawing.
That was his drawing.
Okay, so I was making sure that it wasn't a piece of art that he was trying to replicate.
No, those were all his drawings. On the top one, it has his name signed on it.
Got it.
So you know that it was him.
Yes, he's a genius. That Hannibal.
He really is.
He's just an artist. He's just a frustrated artist trying to make some art.
Just trying to make
cut the
some
guy
art,
some
man.
slack. He's an expert chef. He's a surgeon. He's an artist.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's got it all.
And he's a killer.
The
No,
lady wouldn't want that.
So let me ask you this: was Miriam gonna die anyway, or did Miriam only die because she saw the art? What do you think?
Well, I think the second she walked into that office, she was going to die.
You think so?
Well, I don't know. He was upstairs.
Because Hannibal loves like flirting, being really close to people. Like, he loves, as you can see, he loves getting people really, really close to him. Keep your friends close, your enemies closer. Like that. He loves the idea of, like, you don't know that I'm the killer. I'm right here. I'll serve you some tea.
Yeah, but why would he want her close? He wants Jack close. It's not about her. She's just this little peon that he sent to him.
Right.
That the FBI sent to him. Just this little thing, who's very smart. but it's more proving something to the greater FBI than it is just to this one student.
Right.
I mean, he had the time to go upstairs, take his shoes off. That creeped me out, actually, when you saw his little feet pitter patter. Oh, I didn't like it. I don't like it. Coming down the ladder.
He's scary.
I get chills. Look at me, chills.
Yeah. And what sucks about the whole thing is we knew the whole time. The second Anna showed up, all perky, we were like, oh no, she's not gonna make it.
No.
Poor Anna.
The famous guest star.
I know,
never
like
makes
she's
it.
like she's not gonna make it. And that's and she did not. So that's that. So that was really yeah. Again, the storytelling here, like this was such a this is some non-linear storytelling here. I mean, this whole episode was really for us, the audience, for us to remember who we're dealing with here. It was for the audience, exclusively for us to remember, like, oh yeah, this guy is Hannibal Lecter, and he's a bad mother. You know, like he's not effing around because. With this whole, we've dealt with all these crime scenes and dealt with Will and a little bit of Jack and all this sort of like, Hannibal just in Windsor, not in double Windsors.
Triple Windsor.
Triple Windsor, according to
Get it
football.
right, Brass.
Sauteing up some mystery meat. But now we finally see this guy who is very capable of doing things and get very capable of anger, getting jealous, and in toying with Jack in the horrible sadistic way that he did. I mean, that's...
Well, they've done such a great job in the previous episodes of... you never forget who he is, but then you kind of do because he's so charming and he's so lovely and worldly, and you're drawn into him. So it's a good little reminder that remember, guys, who you're dealing with.
Again, it's one of the great tricks the great tricks this show plays on us as the audience, and a great job that Mads does playing Hannibal in that this whole time he's just he's the title character, but he's been just a character in this group of guys, in this merry band of FBI agents and doctors that are profiling serial killers. Like, he's just one of the fellas, this whole time. Occasionally he'll cook up some food and he'll help everyone out. And then you kind of lulled to sleep by the fact that this guy is doing his thing until it's Hannibal. So,
it's Hannibal.
And so today we saw that. And I think let's unpack that a little bit. Let's get into Hannibal himself. Like, so he, we know what we know about Hannibal is he's definitely playing this game, right? He's really about like the game of it, which is quite sadistic and crazy. And he does like the idea of keeping his enemies close, super close, right?
Yes.
But moreover, he seems to be like the idea of toying with them. Like, he has them all, like you said, he's conditioning them all in their own way. He's conditioning him so that he can manipulate them and move them around, or then ultimately toy with them.
Puppet master.
Because what you see here is a guy, just when you have some sort of, this is another great job that they've done here. They've done a great job of painting him as not a complete, there's just some level of empathy, not empathy, but let's say, you feel that Hannibal has some compassion. He's done some good things in the past, that not great things, but he's done some things that aren't consistent with just a sociopathic, psychopathic serial killer. Like we see him even when he's helping Will, or when he's doing some things.
But don't you think that's all completely 100% calculated?
Absolutely. What I'm saying is from what it lulls us, the viewer, to sleep. Like, oh yeah, he's part of the team. But today, like, you see him, in fact, I there's a part of me, a really dumb, super dumb part of me that felt like
he's such part of you, Joe.
No, it's in there, right on the surface, dumb. I actually start to believe like he likes Jack. They're like, he's Jack's friend. Him and Jack, they're buddies. He cooks him up a little, a little modified something. But today, like, he confided in Jack, about Bella, and it was all the whole thing. But then the second that Freddie Lowndes, wrote that article, he starts effing with Jack. Like, does not hesitate to F with Jack. Like, it's all about, oh yeah, Jack, think you're so effing smart. Like, he really, really, which is the thing. The ultimate thing about Hannibal to me is that he loves to prove that he is beyond. He's not just the smartest guy in the room. He's the smartest guy in the rooms next to your room. He's the smartest guy in the building, and he's got to prove it at every turn, at every single turn. Whether that's having you close and feeding you some tongue, or whether that's feeding you food of the people that you're trying to find. Whether it's like once you think you've got the Chesapeake Ripper, he's going to let you know that the Chesapeake Ripper is out there in a way that is impossible. You know, he's really, really a crazy, diabolical guy.
It's all for the sport of it, I think. You know, when you're that smart, when you're that brilliant and dark, I mean, what do you do with yourself? Like, how do you entertain yourself? There's nothing on this planet that will keep you entertained. You don't play chess. You don't play Super Mario Brothers. I don't know. Super Mario Brothers. You don't.
You certainly don't play Super Mario Brothers in 2013. But maybe. God. Maybe Hannibal does, though.
Maybe he does. Maybe he likes a little throwback gaming.
Yes.
He possibly does. But, you know, you have to come up with your own games. You have to come up with your own source of entertainment. And coming from such a bleak, gruesome place, this is what he comes up with.
Right.
It's the only thing that'll keep his mind occupied.
Dr. Abel Gideon.
There it is.
That's Dr. That's Dr. Izzard Pants.
I prefer Dr.
All I had to do was take a look at my notes.
Oh, you know, they're in here. They're in my notes somewhere,
I just wrote it right
too.
down, right there.
I bet you.
Right next to
Oh, there it is.
Abel,
oh, there it is.
Dr.
Flip
Abel
the
Gideon.
page.
There he is.
Flip the page, Jules.
So Hannibal, he's nuts, and the things he did, like the whole sort of I'm gonna replay this recording, taunting, and figuring a way to have untraceable calls to the FBI, to Mr. FBI himself, Jack Crawford, the balls
from his bedroom,
and then taking her fingerprint, her thumbprint, and putting it on the phone, and then placing a hair. Like, that's, you know, and then ultimately leading her to the point where you can find her with her arm
it's like
only.
He's been saving
14
her.
missed calls.
Here's a question I had, actually.
Yes.
That arm was pretty fresh.
Yeah, well, it's got to preserve the meat.
Was she in the freezer? Has she been alive for a couple years?
I don't. She's definitely dead.
Arm. Well, she's dead now.
Yeah.
But that arm was not at all, you know, decomposed in any way, shape, or form.
This guy knows.
That was a nice looking hand.
He knows methods of preservation. He's a faux gras master.
Maybe she's been alive for all this time, and he was just waiting for the time to strike.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe I'm reaching.
But we do know. Well, let me ask you this: who was the the dinners? I just want to just back to Hannibal and these cooking scenes, which are becoming. I like that they're not overdoing it with the cooking or with the food and the eating. It's very subtle, and these last couple times it's been a little humorous, right? Like, he's having a laugh now. It's almost like a bit. Like every week he's got a line. Like this one, he's got a line about what it's like. Here's what I'm serving, and then he'll tell you a little story about him.
Yes.
Here's a rather chatty lamb. It's like, and they're like, was he a chatty lamb?
Chatty lamb.
Here's his tongue. I'm Hannibal. Yeah, he's having a.
And then I have to point it out, that very last, or that line he said during that dinner of "It's always nice to have an old friend for dinner."
Yeah.
You know, that's his demise at the end of Silence of the Lambs when he's chasing down Gideon and having an old friend for dinner.
Yep. No. Oh, he double dropped the line.
Oh, yes, he did.
It was almost like it was either a cool callback or a cool foreshadowing, or it was like almost a rim shot inducing thing. It was like, it's always good having a gold friend for dinner. Bump. Hey, I'm Hannibal. 2 shows nightly. I'll be here all week. It's a particularly chatty lamb. Hey, I'm Hannibal. Bump. What's you eating there? I don't know. It's like, he's killing me with the jokes. Like, he loved, like, he's having a great time. Hannibal Lecter is.
Oh yeah, he
at all of our expenses. So Hannibal's a nut. We know that. I just want to get back to a little bit about. Just briefly touch on the reintroduction of Freddie Lowndes. I love that scene where they have to sort of be these uneasy bedfellows, these strange bedfellows of Freddie Lowndes and the 2 doctors and Jack. And I do love how they were kind of going through the list of the types of people that these serial killers gravitate to.
Yeah,
the clergy, the surgeons, CEOs. And number 6 and 7 on the list were, of course, law enforcement and journalists. So, they're number 6 and 7 working together.
Oh, yes.
And Freddie
what was her line? A bunch of psychopaths helping each other out?
Yes, including Hannibal.
Yep.
They're all in this together.
Oh, yes, they are.
So, great storytelling. I'm really, I love it. I love what they're doing here, and I can't even know what will happen if we don't do the show anymore.
Oh,
but I do want to draw one parallel, because we do the Bates Motel as well. We have the Bates Motel finale tonight, and you know, they do. I just want to draw a parallel of like it's a very similar thing. We have an origin story of a very famous fictional serial killer,
Yeah.
and someone decided we know how this ends up for Norman Bates. We've gone back and we're unpacking this whole story, which could last for seasons and seasons. And the fact that they're doing the same thing here, which on its surface seems like, oh, they're doing the old telling the origin story of the serial killer trick, but it is phenomenal. Two great and both great shows. I'm not saying this because I do the after shows for both right here on AfterBuzz.
Oh.
But they're really, really great, really great storytelling. I don't know that. Again, I'll say it again. I don't know that I've seen anything like this, so I'm very excited for more. So, but speaking of which, let's jump into our little predictions, maybe.
Predictions, okay.
Yeah, so you're ready for this.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I can ask you questions.
But I have a prediction.
Oh, let's hear it.
Well, I have an idea. I have a
Okay.
thought.
I'm
Just
ready.
rumbling around in there. I think that Dr. Alana Bloom is going to be the crux of this whole thing. I think she's going to be the one
In what way?
that is not sucked into Hannibal all the way. I think she's the one who's not going to fall under his spell, and she's ultimately going to be his undoing.
Okay.
That's what I think. That could happen in like 4 seasons, but that's what I'm predicting now. You heard it here first.
You think he's going to be his undoing?
I
in
think
that?
she's going to be his undoing. I think she's going to be the reason that.
Well,
he
we
goes
talked
down.
about in episode 4 how they had a little flirtation. Are you saying that he's going to be attracted to her? They're going to be attracted to each other, and he's going to get a little sloppy?
I think she's going to see through him in the end.
Really?
I think she's going to be the one to figure it out, because she's the one who has the balls to stand up to him. She's the one who, you know, is almost playing on his level. Maybe he'll let his guard down a little bit. I don't know.
Well, in the book and movie, I know it opens with that scene of Will and Hannibal having dinner, and then Hannibal stabbing Will. I wonder if I'm not sure if that's in the book as well. Forgive me. Everyone help us out on iTunes and YouTube and Twitter. But so it seems like that the discovery of Hannibal seems to be already predetermined.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to just
Damn,
shit
there goes
on
my
your
prediction.
prediction. I'm just saying, it's hard to.
I quit.
All right, I'm sorry. It's hard. We're 2 episodes behind. We got a whole mythology ahead of us. Not much to predict.
I know I didn't do your prediction.
I predict that Hannibal is. I got nothing. I got nothing. I predict that we're gonna see more of Abigail.
Ooh, I miss Abigail.
Yeah,
I love
Abigail
meeting
Hobbs,
Abigail.
So hopefully we'll see more of her coming up.
She's gonna be the demise of me.
Yes, Julia Cearley. Where can we find you?
Find me at Twitter at Julia Cearley. Just my name. And here with the 2 Joes. 1 Joe today.
Yes.
But the 2 Joes usually.
The 2 Joes and Nando, presumably, maybe.
Does he really exist?
I don't know. He's I don't know. I'm Joe Braswell. You can find me on Twitter at Joe K Braswell, and also the Bates Motel finale, and with Joe Flippo and Nando, and do a Casey. And you can also find me here doing Mad Men as well with Joe Flippo and Matt Lieberman, and on Grantland.com. And you should watch Extra because I'm a producer there too.
Where aren't you, Braz?
I am not going to continue the show any longer because we have to go. That's where I'm not. Thank you for listening again. We'll be back with episode 7 and 8 and 9.
Oh, I can't wait.
Thank you.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.